Hi, I'm Serenity Krigo. I'm an oil painter, and today I want to talk about something that is so very exciting to me. Okay, how to paint in a looser style. This is something that I've found that other people just kind of say, "Oh, you want to paint loose? Paint loose." There's no how-to in there. So I found some different practical methods that have allowed me to get away from being extremely tight all the time and then loosening up. So before I begin, here's kind of my examples of very loose paintings. And here's some of my examples of maybe more tight paintings. Okay. To me, the difference that I see between this one and that one isn't so much a lack of accuracy. So here's kind of the progression that I've seen in a lot of art, or especially in my art. You start off very loose, but not accurate at all. Like children's drawings or beginners drawings, you don't have maybe that much detail, but you're just trying to get an idea out, and then that's the end of it. And then quickly we realize that detail is so very important, and it is. So we have to go through that. So I think you have to go here, you start loose, not very accurate, then you go super accurate the whole way until you get to here, and this is maybe why you're opening up this video, because you're excited now to get to that other side of your painting or creative practice, to get back to that loose thing. But how do you do that? And I have some ideas that I've used before, and some things that I hope will help you. Okay. Some wise man once said something like, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result, right? You can't, that's not gonna work. So what exactly do you need to change in your practice to get a different result? And what are you going for as far as looseness? So there are kind of two things that you can be loose in. Well, there's placement, and then there's color, and that's like all you kind of really get. So my first tip, if you want to just change the look of your paintings a little bit, is your process for making a very accurate drawing before you paint or before you do whatever, draw if you're a colored pencil artist or whatnot, might be a little bit too detailed to begin with, and now you can't step away from that amount of accuracy in your drawing. Okay, here's what I mean. Let's say you use some sort of tool, like a lot of artists, you know, I don't know how to say it, we're magicians, we have tricks. We make illusions for people. That's just what it is. So maybe use a graph method, or you have some kind of tracing, or you take a very long time on your sketch. I'd suggest getting the eyes, the nose, the mouth, like let's say you're making a pet portrait, in the correct place, ears, outline, and then step away a little bit from making sure that every fur placement is exactly where it needs to be, or you need to have so much detail where this shadow changes to that shadow, changes to that shadow. I think what you'll find is you will allow yourself to paint, right? You'll allow yourself to make human mistakes, and that's going to help your painting have that looser feel. So that's my number one, my first tip, and that's for changing up your placement. Something that you've probably already heard of, but I can guarantee, like from my perspective, that this really helps, is use a bigger brush. Limit yourself and start out with a bigger brush, and see what you can do. It might be a little bit weird if you've only ever done very teeny tiny brushes and then you just kind of made a whole painting from that. But changing that will have a different effect on your end results on your painting. A palette knife. I have done, okay, I'm just gonna go like this painting and that painting. I can't snap too well sometimes. And that painting, maybe I'll clap. And that painting. I've done all those basically exclusively with a palette knife. One of them has a different background that wasn't with the palette knife, but it's interesting what you can do by limiting your tools. Oh, okay, here's an interesting thought. I have not done this specifically, but if you want to change the look of your painting and have a very loose style, I want to see if anybody does this, but change to your non-dominant hand. I mean, how cool of a painting that would be. I want to do that very soon. Something a little less severe than being right-handed and then making a painting by being left-handed would be to change the grip. If you're kind of a pencil grip person, you're really uptight, maybe step away on your brush a little bit and see how that does. And if you make a mistake or you go off a little bit, you know, it's going to result in organic looseness. Okay, number 3. This is something very interesting, and I don't know how, not how useful it's going to be to anybody else, but I do something with my reference photos that a lot of people don't do. So I print out my reference photos, and usually I just have it be on a 8.5 by 11 for whatever size painting I'm doing. 11 by 14 to this big bad boy back here. No, I think I might have printed it out on 2 different sheets of paper because it's so huge. But to have a looser painting, I've found using a smaller reference photo and working just from that is extremely useful for helping your eye and for helping the end result of your painting. And you're also going to paint a lot faster. And I think the main idea is you're seeing shapes be way less detailed, and you're not worrying about that many changes in color. Now you always are, but not to the point where you're focused on it so much. Here's a painting that I made completely with a smaller reference photo. And here's that small reference photo. It is way different than a regular 8.5 by 11. That also made me paint a lot faster. It's one of those things, all of this is about the vision you have for that particular painting. This might work, this might be a great idea for the painting you're gonna do next, but not the one after that. So just keep this in mind as something that you can put in your toolbox. Okay. Number 4, you know how hyper-realistic paintings are giant because they have to be so big to get that amount of detail. And then you get smaller and smaller and you have to have less and less detail. Right. This is weird, but I found that a bigger canvas can make me as an artist paint a lot faster than if I'm working on a smaller canvas, which is kind of bizarre. And there's like obviously a push and pull. I'm not going to be able to do a very realistic painting on something too small, but it's like the in-between size is where I get very realistic, and then I go bigger and I get looser sometimes. it's something to think about. Here, I'll just show you what I mean. With that particular painting, I definitely could have painted a lot tighter, for sure, especially if you look in the grass. But there's just something about it where, oh, maybe it's because I had mixed up so much paint. That's kind of one of my, that's actually number 7, but we'll get to that later. Yeah, so maybe switch it up. Maybe you're always on this certain canvas size. Maybe if you go to a different canvas size, you'll find a different result. Okay, number 5. This is something I've practiced with before, and I thought it was very, very interesting. And that's having restrictions as far as time goes. Or I guess maybe time isn't the only way to say it. I mean, you can paint faster, and that would be wonderful. Just amount of time, amount of effort you're putting into your painting, and restrict yourself. So I did a painting where I had 15 brush strokes, and then I would like tally mark my brush strokes so I didn't lose my track. And I'd take a step back and go, okay, where am I at? It's not looking that much like a cat or a person at the moment. Now I'll allow myself to go 15 more and 15 more. And then you might find yourself stopping after only 60 brush strokes. And now you're going to have a very loose, intentional painting. You could definitely just do art this way, but I think it's more of an exercise. But, you know, you decide. I don't know. Oh, inside the restrictions one, just make yourself leave. Maybe you're painting and you get to, I don't know, the hour mark of painting on your certain thing. Get up out of your seat and go away for 5 minutes and then come back, which is weird. A lot of people probably already do this, but maybe I'm not that healthy in some respects. I get inside my own paintings quite a bit. But making yourself leave can also have you see if maybe you're already there. Maybe you don't need to add more detail. It's a thought, okay. So number 6 is to look to other artists. I've had so many paintings where I saw someone else's artwork and just felt so absolutely compelled to make something in that vein. And you probably are feeling this way too, or you probably feel this way a lot. But I wouldn't be afraid to you can save their photos of the artwork, keep them somewhere, look at them often, study them, get real close if you can. I mean, here's a big old painting, crop it so that you have just that much of a painting. Here, I'll do that a bunch to mine here. Looking at paintings close up is one of my favorite things to do, and I think you can get inside the artist's mind and maybe the brushes they were using, or maybe the speed of brush strokes they were putting on there, or how much thick the paint is. Look at it really close and try to absorb it like you're an actual sponge that can touch things and take on that liquid, that mojo of other people. I would try that. Try to find, there's a painting, you know, I think stylistic choices, they can be very different no matter what. Like, you can try your hardest to take someone's style, but you're just gonna put so much of you in there anyway that you're not gonna really be able to tell. I mean, unless you really spend time trying to steal their stuff, which is fine. You're gonna take it, you're gonna absorb it, it's gonna be part of you, and then you can go forth and use that on your other paintings. One artist that I have had a lot of luck with, looking at closely, is Richard Schmid. So here's a painting that I made directly after watching his videos and buying 2 of his books and looking at painting after painting. And then after that, I fell in love with landscapes. So I did a bunch of those. And then what I found is wow, I really love where I live, and that helped me fall in love with my surroundings, including alleyways and that sort of thing. So this kind of stuff can just snowball. You don't even know where it really starts. How did I even find Richard Schmid? I don't know, some YouTube video. And then now I'm here making alleyways. It's crazy. Painting is absolutely nuts. Okay, so here we are back to number 7. And that connects kind of to 4, what I was talking about earlier. But mix way too much paint for if you want thick paint. And it sounds kind of silly, it sounds very obvious, but I definitely suggest like just going, oh yeah, you don't have to worry if that kind of sounds obvious and you didn't get it. just own this now. There you go, here you go, it's for you now. Mix way too much paint. You can also use different mediums and that sort of thing, absolutely. I don't know. I like what oil paint does itself. Now, this is interesting for other painters and other mediums. I don't know. I don't know what to do with texture with like other stuff, but maybe just making bigger shapes, bigger colors of value, putting more down than always switching. I don't know. That this is a great thing for painters. Sorry, people who work very flatly. I work flatly too. I do grayscaling stuff. Okay. Okay. So the last one is I just said take a different approach. And what I mean by this specifically is if you're the kind of artist that paints left to right, or is very detailed and it does like an eye and then does the nose and then does all this other stuff in different ways. You can come like this, or you can have it be like that. I'd suggest to make a looser painting, do like a not so detailed like bottom of your painting, like what you would do when you first put something on the ear before you put that detail on top of it. And then don't put the detail on top of it until you're done with the whole painting. So you might be like, oh, there's a little bit of ear, another ear, okay, got his nose and that sort of stuff. Now I'm ready to go on top of it to get maybe more accurate shapes or fur texture, that sort of thing. And that's really helped me to go, okay, I need to make more information, put more details in the eyes and maybe like right around the nose, but I don't need to have extremely detailed fur way out here. Not that I haven't done that before. Like I said, with all art, you decide how loose or how tight you want to paint, and what's gonna make the strongest emotional pull in your painting. Yeah. But I hope that those are some actual things that you can go out and do to paint loosely, instead of just being like, good luck, buddy, just, the thing that you're doing, just try not to do as much of that. Don't put as much detail. It's like, how though? How? And I hope that teaches you how, or gives you some suggestions. Okay. Thank you so much. I hope that you got some stuff out of this, and that you like my other videos. It gets kind of crazy here. Just so you know, there's art stuff and more art stuff, and it just keeps going. Yeah, okay. Hope you have a great day. Goodbye.